so we're running a little bit late, although I guess it's technically Zoom time. So why don't I open the meeting and declare it so. This is the April 1st, 2021 Town of Concord, Massachusetts Historic Districts Commission meeting. So welcome. I'm calling the meeting to order. We have one continuance and I think 4 new public hearings, but we'll 3 or 4. Let me do a quick roll call of the commission. So let me just call on you, and if you would say aye. Nia Glenn?
Aye.
Abby Flanagan?
Aye.
Luis Perez Beitia? That was an aye. Let's see, Catherine Mast?
Aye.
Dennis Fiore? And Melinda Shumway?
Aye.
And I think that's all of us. So we have quorum and we're good to go. So in accordance with the Commonwealth of what's in this stuff anyway? Commonwealth of Massachusetts Executive Order suspending certain provisions of open meeting law. We're conducting the meeting online. This is accessible both through audio and video conferencing. The public will have an opportunity to ask questions and provide public comment on applications and discussions following the petitioner's presentations and questions and review by the commission. To do so, please raise your hand if you know how to use that in the Zoom feature, or wave at us, or I think *9 if you're on the phone. The host will be muting microphones to preserve bandwidth, and we may need to turn off video screens. After the presentation, I'll call on each commissioner for comment. We'll then open the meeting for public comment. Once that is through, I will ask for a motion from the commission to approve, not approve, approve with conditions, or continue. A second, and we'll do a roll call vote. Once the commissioners have acted on an application, the petitioner will be free to go. So that's my spiel. We are now officially in session. Our first and only continuance is the Barrett's Mill Farm project, which we were all out at this morning. This is 449 Barrett's Mill Road, and this is a certificate of appropriateness application to install 2 sheds. That says storage sheds, but I guess they're both storage sheds. Yes, please. So I see the folks from Barrett Mill Farm are here. I think, was everyone on the call tonight at I think everyone was at the site visit, correct? Was anyone on the commission not there this morning? Abby, were you there this morning?
Yes.
I didn't see you.
She was there.
Oh,
I was in a very big rain hood.
Incognito.
I'm sorry I didn't say hello. No, the folks out there gave us a good tour. I think I see BJ. There are a few folks who are on the site walk this morning from the Park Service. And I can just start by saying I had a brief conversation with Delia, this is for the commission's information, about the sort of the long-term use of the farm buildings, especially the Red Barn. This will be no news to the folks at the farm. There was a sort of a misunderstanding about how much of the Red Barn would be turned over to the farm operation. That building is used as a kind of workshop. I don't know if you all caught this, by the town to do woodworking and some other stuff. I think what Delia said to me is the long-term plan is to eventually have the town build its own workshop kind of closer to downtown, and eventually potentially turn that building into more farm, but that's not a short-term possibility. So what we're looking at is these 2 small shed buildings. And Heather, I don't know if you have the application. I think there might be a little additional material this evening as well. Maybe if we could look at a site plan, we could just tell the assembled public what we're looking at. Okay, so here's what we're talking about there. And I don't have a pointer, but oh, you do. So there's that little shed there. And then there's another one proposed for behind the greenhouses down to the lower right, I believe. You see it right? Yeah, there it is. So that's what we're talking about. And the shed that Heather's pointing at right now is really not a big concern. It can be seen from the river, but not from the road. But the other shed is kind of right up by the road and visible from Colonel Barrett's house. And that's the one we're more concerned about in terms of, let's say, appearance and historic district appropriateness. Now, the last thing I'll say before I turn the microphone over is Concord has a long agricultural tradition. This is a living, breathing farm and part of our legacy, which we love to support. Farms are, by their very nature, I think they can be very odd in terms of the number of buildings, and it really is about the workflow, the way buildings are set down on farms. So this kind of outbuilding does not surprise any of us who are familiar with, let's say, farm design. So I think we'd just like to talk through one more time the look and location of each of the sheds. Does that make sense to the commission?
Yep.
I see a vague nodding of heads.
Yes.
So maybe what I'll do is this. Heather, is there additional material to look at on the shed specs? And maybe we start with the one up front.
There was, they submitted new doors.
Okay, oh, that looks like a barn. So that the door on top is the one that was specified or shown to us the first time. The bottom one is the potential new design, which I think looks much more suitable to farm as opposed to backyard. And is there any other material, Heather?
That was the only new material given
Okay.
to us.
That is fine. Could we look at just the material that was submitted on that shed first? There we go. Sorry, I'm going to turn this background off. It's very annoying to me. Okay, so if we look at that shed, the isometric view, or the elevation. So this is the shed. That's the one in the back. And this is the one up front. So it's not electrified. It's essentially it's up off the ground. I think, Lisa, did you say it's on pallets?
It's on blocks, so the shed company
Blocks.
will level it and put it on blocks.
It'll have a solar powered light. So the substitutions we're talking about would be, instead of those doors we're looking at, it would be the barn door, correct? And I think we already asked if the little shutters could go away, and you said yes.
Yes, and those can go away, and we can also they can either have it just with no shutters, or it can be with a trim around it, and we're happy to do either.
And the total height to the top of the ridge is it like 10 feet? I don't see a dimension there. I see it's 8 by 12,
Yeah,
right?
I had it on the application. I thought it was 9 feet 3 inches. It was
Okay.
the handwritten.
Okay, thank you, Melissa.
Yeah.
I didn't mean to overlook you there.
No worries.
There it is,
Yeah,
Melissa and Lisa.
9.3, 9.3.
All right, so 9.3. Do we happen to have a photograph from the road? I don't know if we have handy. Yeah,
We
and
did.
oh, there we go. Okay, so that's the location. We were all standing around this morning. There was no snow, thank goodness. It's under-ish the tree. It's really the work yard. I think we understood that the wash area is that door we're looking at the side of the long building and facing us. This is to store part of that operations, basins and so forth. And I think to store vegetables, correct, as they're going through the process so that rodents can't.
It would not be storing vegetables. It would just be keeping our harvest buckets and produce bins for when after produce is washed. It'll be keeping
Okay.
those safe from animals.
Okay, and we discussed potential other locations. Further back is problematic, mostly because of septic, and I'm not even sure that really, I mean, it just pushes it further back. Pulling it forward and somehow making it adjacent to the building on the left is also potentially problematic. Now, this is also remind me, it's a grant that needs to be spent soon? Is that, how does that work?
The deadline for the grant for completion of the project is June 30th, but in terms of for our timeline, we would obviously like to have it done sooner. We're actually starting harvesting now. So, but for us, we've pushed back the build date with the shed company to April 28th. And
Okay.
that would be, like ideal to have it done by then.
Okay. A couple other things we didn't really talk about was the potential to, might be the wrong word, to screen the shed from the road if it really is somehow, if it would help mitigate the let's call it the from some people's perspective, the cluttered nature of the yard, if there were a way of, forsythia or something on one side. We didn't really talk about that, and that's what I wanted to see what the commission thought. So I'll stop talking. Let me go around and see what commissioners have, if any questions from the site visit or from the material presented. And I'm just go around. Nia, you're first on my screen.
Okay. I'm in support of this project. This is an agricultural site that's been used for agriculture for a long, long time. I think the need is real. The need is imminent. I would hate to turn down a grant. I think it is appropriate as another outbuilding. I understand the concerns of the national park. However, I think I would still consider this as temporary per se, in that it's on blocks. Hopefully they can have more time to come up with a more permanent solution, possibly, as BJ suggested, as an attachment to one of the other barns, or over time the use of the red barn. But I am okay with this. I'm concerned that plopping some forsythia in front of it is more going to draw attention to it than otherwise. But I'd be interested to hear what the other commissioners have to say. And I also want to acknowledge that this is an important view shed for the Colonel Barrett House.
Nia, but any thoughts on the back shed? I know we're not looking at that.
No, I have no concerns about that at all. As far as I'm concerned, the existing tanks and other stuff, in fact, a shed to hide it would be a plus. Even as it is viewed from the river, it's a plus.
Okay, great, thank you. Abby, you're next on my rotation. What do you think?
So I agree with Nia, the back shed, not at all a concern. I think it's appropriate. I think it's scaled appropriately. I agree it's a working agricultural property. I think allowances need to be made for that. I think the scale of it is appropriate. I think the materials with the change in the doors and the removal of the shutters to make it look as kind of simple and agricultural as possible is an improvement. A working farm is not, it's not a picture postcard. It's not going to always look just like we'd like to design it, like Courier and Ives. And I think, there's a lot of equipment out there right now, the buckets, they're tarped, I think this will actually, we talk about cluttering the site. I actually think it will remove some of the visual clutter and will contain some of that. And yeah, down the road, it may be moved, it may be able to be improved. But I think for right now, I think it's appropriate. And I think it's in keeping with a working agricultural property. So I don't object to it.
Thank you, Abby. Melinda, you're next on my screen.
Okay, so I don't think we've talked about color tonight of the shed. I'm sorry, I've got a dog out here that won't. What color is the shed going to be now?
It'll be white.
Okay.
And we're happy to paint the doors whatever color they could be, match the color of the doors on the white barn, the bunkhouse.
I actually love the doors that you put on the barn doors. I mean, that to me like changes everything.
Right.
I would like to also be certain that the shutters go so it doesn't look like a so-called tiny house.
Yeah, no problem. We're happy to take those off.
I don't care whether you have trim or not, and the back is fine. Obviously, we don't see it. It's totally fine. And hopefully down the road you'll get some major grant that allow you to take the barn in the back and double it or something. I mean,
That'd be
whatever.
great.
Keep selling a lot of vegetables and you might be able to do that. Anyways, for me, the pendulums swung to the other side with the new doors. I think that's a big deal. And you must have had to do a lot of work to find that.
So Melinda, I guess you're not having a tiny house put on your property anytime soon.
I'm not saying that necessarily. They say they've gotten very popular during the pandemic. Who would know?
Right.
Is it?
Yes, Melissa, go ahead.
I just wanted to mention we with the new barn doors, the one change would be it would be wood, so it would be painted. We would still paint it white, but the structure to be strong enough, the walls would now be wood siding.
Okay.
Fine.
Better in a way.
Yes.
Better, yeah.
Okay. Thank you, Melinda. Catherine, you're next on my screen.
Yes, well, so far I agree with everything my fellow commissioners have mentioned. I did think it was sort of just a notable comment earlier this morning that it may have been interesting to consider like a shed roof structure off this building that I think could look very, very nice and integrated. But I do understand that there were considerations and concerns about having to build a whole foundation to actually add that extension. So I think the solution they've come to is very reasonable and makes a lot of sense. And I have no objection to it at all. And as far as the other structure behind the greenhouses, I think that's fine as well, very practical for their needs. So no objections.
Thank you, Catherine. Luis.
Can you hear me?
Yes, how are you
Oh,
feeling, by the way?
No, I'm all right. Thank you.
You had a
Yeah, I don't have
second shot
any
yesterday.
in 2 weeks I'll be fine. I can go back. They get me out of my lair. I don't have any problems with the back shed. As far as the front shed is concerned, I think that the National Park Service has raised some important issues. Some of them are matters of the historic view, the historic perspective. And this is the setting where, unfortunately, we probably won't have a lot to say because the way that this new structure interferes in the landscape, it's to use those words, it's minimal. But I understand that they want to preserve a particular view from the Colonel Barrett's house, and that is something that we should keep into account. The second issue is that they have brought some issues of archaeological significance of the site. And I think that these have to be kept in mind by the applicant, and that they should obtain some assistance from the appropriate entities. And this probably would be the Park Service itself, to be absolutely sure that whatever work is done in that area has the potential to preserve any archaeological findings or to confirm that there are none. But I think that this is something that should be attached to the application. And then finally, one of the issues that was being discussed this morning with the National Park Service was that the way that structures grow in farmlands and agricultural environments is the way that's called organic growth. Which means that you usually have a bigger structure to which a smaller structure is attached in one of the walls, or just the opposite, a smaller one attached with a bigger one attached. And this is exactly what they were mentioning this morning, that it would be a favorable solution to this issue. But I don't think that that's a possibility in this setting. So I think that this is one of the things that we have to appease. And we have to accept that the proposed location will not be the most appropriate. On the other hand, there's something that we can do, which is to minimize the amount of intervention that the new structure makes. And for this purpose, I entirely agree with my colleagues that this structure should be fairly Spartan, with no shutters, with a wall that resembles the structure of the other houses, and with the door as depicted. So I don't have an objection from that perspective, but I do think that the applicant should make a note of the archaeological potential of the site.
Thank you, Luis. I think if I may, Melissa, please tell me if I'm wrong. The front shed, there's no excavation,
Correct.
correct?
There's no
That's just
digging there.
The back shed, there are 4 piers, but that area has been disturbed previously. Am I correct?
Yes, that we dug a 500-foot bedrock well there
Okay.
in 2017.
So that may, I think, to Luis's point, you may want to attach any reference to that in the application, just to say that that area has been reviewed by the, archaeologically oriented entities. That's the wrong way to say it, probably. All right, Luis, thank you. Dennis, you're next on my screen. You're muted. We can't hear you. Now you turned your camera. There you go.
You got me now?
Yes, here you are.
Okay. A quick question. Why can't we tuck the building beside the farm stand and where BJ thought a lean-to could go, but why can't you tuck the building there?
I think there's one of the concerns is it's making the shed twice as far away from the wash area. So proximity is definitely something that's important to us for efficiency's sake. It's something that we're going back and forth to a lot. I hadn't thought about putting it right up against the wall of the shed. I don't know if like water coming off of the roof of the farm stand would be an issue. I would think that it would look a little funny. It's also the length of it is 12 feet, whereas the length of the shed is 12 feet, whereas the length of the wall from the door to the end of the wall is 9. So it would be jutting out beyond the actual wall of the farm stand.
Yeah, in my opinion, if you painted it white, tucked it in beside, and blended it in, then it wouldn't look like a separate structure. It would look like it was something attached to that building. And I know it's a longer walk for you. I was looking at it today and pacing it out, and that's not ideal. But with the door at the back of it, it really is not that far away. Anyway, that's a suggestion that I think that to make it look like a part of that building takes down the separateness of all those structures on the site.
Now, Dennis, let me ask a question. You're not talking about right up next against the elevation.
Why
You're
not?
talking
Yeah, that's what I'm talking
behind?
about. Sure.
Oh, I was thinking you were talking behind.
No, you could get it as close as you can to look like it's part of the building.
So the roof is still sloped, like some of it would be sloped towards the farm stand. So I would be concerned about water draining off from the shed onto the farm stand wall and causing problems. Also, I know it doesn't seem like a long distance, but for us, when we're walking back and forth, 30, 40 times a day, it really adds up. So adding twice the distance for us is a major down point and a problem in efficiency for us. We work really long days and spend a lot of time on our feet, and proximity to the wash station is extremely important to us.
But hadn't we talked about it earlier as having some functions in the red barn? Isn't that some distance away?
No, what we were talking about with the red barn was that if we had access to the red barn, we would move the other things that are being stored in the white barn into the red barn and convert the white barn into more of a wash pack area that is food safe. So the red barn would not be used for any functions related to the wash station. It would be just simply that we would be converting the entirety of the white barn to be used for wash pack only.
Okay.
That would be far more efficient if it was all in there, but we just simply don't have the storage space to do that.
Well, I agree with everybody that structures on farms do crop up and they're part of the landscape. But at the same time, if you have a large building like the Red Barn that the town recognizes should be part of your use, but it's taking its time to turn over to you, I think there's a need to put some pressure on the town to make that move. And one of my suggestions is that we okay this wherever the location is, but review it in a year. So we give you permission to have it on a year-by-year basis, and that we send a letter to the town saying, we don't approve of more structures on the site. We think there are plenty there, and we understand that there's other facilities available, that the town should give a priority to turning those buildings over to you. I'm against more structure there. I will go along with it if there's no option, but only on a temporary basis, because I think that we're letting the town off the hook on the space that's available to you, and they should turn over to you.
I'm going to ask you to draft that letter, Dennis.
I will be glad to draft it.
Thank you.
I already
You're-
have it in mind.
You're in charge of that subcommittee.
But
No,
that's if
yeah.
anybody wants to go along with it and just say, we'll give you permission to do this. You said it's temporary. Let's review it in a year. Because if we do this and we let the town off the hook, they're never going to get around to turning over that space. Never, ever.
Right. And
What's
and
the
if I
problem?
may-
What's the pressure?
Right. And Melissa, at least remind me again, you're on a 10-year lease, or how does it work?
We had a 5-year lease and the option to renew for another 5 years. So we're on our second 5-year lease that ends in 2024.
Okay. And I know Hutchins Farm also farms part of that
Mhm.
property as well. So it's a fabulous agricultural use. But Dennis, I think that's a really good idea.
I
you
do
know,
too.
I think writing to the town to say, hey, one of the things I talked to Delia about was, in a sense, the need for a master plan for the farm. I mean, there's no reason the town, if we're part owners, we could help plan the long-term use of the compound. And there's no reason we can't help with that. So
Yeah, they're still young. They're going to be there for a while, I think. And I think we should help them out and see
Right.
that we get the town to turn over more building to them.
yes, well,
We
well
would love Red Barn space, and we would love support in getting that. I had a question about, this proposal of, does this mean that we would have to come before the commission every year to request permission to keep the shed if this is the direction that the commission is heading in?
I don't think so. I think
I
what
think it
we
could be an administrative review, right?
yeah, that's right. I think we
Right,
would-
yeah, right, exactly.
Yeah, it could be done so administratively, so you would file a letter or an update with Heather, and it would be kind of routine unless there was a issue or something came up, but it wouldn't necessitate a full application.
and frankly, it would be,
all that.
sorry, Abby, I was going to say it would be an opportunity for us to update you in case we've had conversations with the town about, turning over more space.
And would not allow the topic to drop annually.
Keep it on the front burner, as it were.
Right.
Okay, thank you, Dennis. Did I get to everyone? I think I did. All right, are there any other thoughts from the commission before we open it up to public comment? I'm just gonna look real quick. I don't think so. So why don't we open this up to public comment? So this is, again, the certificate of appropriateness to install the 2 sheds as we've been discussing. And is there any public comment? I can't quite see everybody at the moment. I think folks might, do you know how to raise your hand? Let's see if people using either the raise hand function or waving at us. Let's see if anybody is interested in speaking. Mark, are you raising your hand? Oh, we can't hear you though. There you are. Oh, now I can't hear you again. There you are.
There you are.
No, you keep muting and unmuting, Mark.
Hang on.
There you go. Just keep
There you
it
go.
pressed.
So I was hoping that BJ would have something to say first. From
Oh,
the
BJ, we're putting you on the spot.
BJ around?
There he is.
Oh,
Hi, BJ. Welcome again.
yes, I like the direction of the temporary, doing a review. I think a year is kind of quick. given that I understand that the town needs to build a new structure for the current activity to relocate out of the Red Barn. I don't know if there's the option of doing it on a 2-year increment, or I'm not sure how the HDC does that. I also think that provides an opportunity. The National Park Service has been doing a fair amount of planning for Barrett Farm internal. We hope to have a public planning process happen in 2023 that will be engaging all of you and all of the public to comment about opening plans, looking at various alternatives for Barrett's Farm. I'll share the shared parking for both the Barrett's Mill farm operation as well as visitors to the site in general has been a topic. The Red Barn has also been looked at by the National Park Service as being some nice space. So
Oh, look at that. A
Oh,
bidding
there
war.
we go.
we're just trying to avoid
How
building.
much is it worth to you?
Anyways, I like the direction where this is going. So those are the park's comments.
Okay, thank you, BJ.
So you're not going to like my comments, okay? I don't think he did a very good job of looking at this project. There was no height, parameters put on it in terms of, anytime I've been involved in anything like this, we've had to put up a 2x4 or a balloon or something so you can see what the height of the building is going to be. That wasn't done. The structure itself was not really clearly marked out for the site visit this morning. I know you measured it, but it wasn't well marked, okay? It's a vinyl building. Are you really going to let a vinyl building be put in a historic district? I know it's just a little barn, okay? So I guess you can tell I have some concerns for it. I have some concerns for it sitting out right in the middle of off the street. And it isn't just the visitors to the Barrett's Farm that see that, it's from our house as well, okay? So, you've got 4 structures that were put up for farming in the back there that weren't there when the McGraths ran that farm for, 75 years. There's been a lot done there, and I think you need to take that into consideration when approving this. I heard what everybody had to say, and everybody thinks it's great, so I assume that that's the way it's going to go. But on the other hand, you've heard my comments. Okay? Thanks for listening.
You
Sorry,
bet.
your point of clarification, did I misunderstand that it had been updated to wood and to be painted?
That's what I heard.
Yeah,
Yes,
That's true.
yes, it will be wood siding.
it's not vinyl siding.
Yep, the application said vinyl.
Yeah, and she just updated it during the hearing that because of the shift in the doors, it's changed to wood.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
My fault, sorry.
No
It's
trouble.
okay. All right, thank you, Mark. Other public comment. I can't see everybody.
Jane has her hand raised.
Jane, please. Hi, Jane.
I just wanted to encourage the letter to come soon. Because this is the final period of my tenure.
What's your due date?
Town meeting.
Town meeting, okay.
All right. Other public comment. This is hard to look around this room. It's a big room. I don't see any. All right, so let's bring it back to the commission. Any thoughts given the public comment? Any last thoughts before I ask for a motion?
Can we discuss,
Yes, Nia, go ahead.
can we discuss the 1-year, 2-year thing, term for review that BJ mentioned 2 years, we've discussed 1 year. I think there's probably pros and cons for both. The 1 year, as you say, keeps it on the front burner, and I kind of like that idea, but I'm happy to make a motion, but I'd like to hear from the other commissioners on the timing issue.
Dennis, what do you think? It was your idea.
I think we should keep their feet to the fire and do it annually. It's just a review. I mean, but I think and BJ's right, they're not going to build it in a year. They probably won't, may not build it in 2 years. But I don't think the goal is for them to immediately build it. The goal is to keep them focused on this problem.
You're talking about the town building a different facility.
Exactly. And well, finding a solution for these other agencies that have their materials stored there. I'm sure the town could come up with a solution.
I agree that 1 year also just administratively, I think is easier. An annual review as opposed to a biannual review, I think that's just, it's cleaner in terms of calendaring.
Yeah.
those for our purposes and for Heather's purposes.
Okay, and I don't think it's too much of an administrative burden on the farmers. I think it really is just it's an administrative procedure, so.
Hopefully it's a help to the farmers.
Right, that's what I'm hoping. Okay,
And by administrative, do you mean staff reviewing it and approving it annually, or you want it to come back like under other business annually?
I think it would come under other business.
Okay.
It would be something we'd review, and it would be a prompt for us or whoever the chair is to go to the town to say, so what's new, what's happening this year? Any progress, any changes? Has the Park Service made you a better offer? I'm just kidding, BJ, sorry. All right, so I think we've had enough comments, so I think I'd look for a motion from the commission.
I'd like to make a motion to approve the application for 449 Barrett's Mill Road to install one storage shed in the rear to house the irrigation equipment, and further to approve a shed towards the front of the property to house the, what is it, the vegetable buckets? Is that the clean vegetable buckets? Sorry, use the right term there, please. For a period of 1 year, and then to have it be reviewed under other business for a further period of time as decided at that point.
Could I just make one friendly amendment, Nia?
Of course.
Would you all, I'm not actually sensitive to Mark's comment. Would you mind marking out the corners of the two sheds? And I or Heather, somebody will come by and just verify the location and make sure we don't have any objections. And frankly, from an architect's perspective, I just want to make sure, for instance, that they're oriented properly, so they're not like slightly askew, which would offend every architect who ever rode by.
Yeah.
Never mind, the general public. I'd appreciate that, because Mark's right. We didn't actually go through the usual formal process of marking things out. So if that's not too much to ask.
No, I also had one other thing that I've just thought of. There was some discussion as to whether the barn door was going to be white, and there was and somebody else said the same color as I think it's a dark green that's on the other barn. So I think we need to know what that is.
We're happy to do whatever the commission thinks is most appropriate.
What do you like, Commission? Nia, what do you think?
No, I don't have an opinion on that. Anybody?
Well, we could leave it up to the
Okay, let's do.
to the.
We're not going to see we're not going to see the doors anyway, because aren't they going to be facing the cleaning area?
You'll see them when you're driving by.
Yeah, there's an oblique angle.
And we're gonna make the amendments and said they should match the existing doors.
Is that okay with everybody?
Probably wouldn't be a bad idea to match the doors on the adjacent
Okay.
buildings.
And the shed to the front of the property to be wood with wood barn doors as submitted tonight. Sorry,
Okay,
that's
Heather,
very long.
Did you get that? Somebody write that down, because I wasn't taking notes.
That was a real ramble, I'm sorry.
Sorry, Peter, point of order, the 5 voting members.
So 5 voting members will be, beside me, Nia,
Yep.
you, Luis, and Melinda.
Great.
All right. Do we have a clear motion? If so, could I get
We
a
do have a
second?
clear motion.
We have a motion, I don't know if it's clear.
I think it's clear. Second.
All right, all in favor? I'm going to go around. I'm just going to take a vote. Nia,
Aye.
Abigail,
Aye.
Melinda,
Aye.
Luis,
Aye.
Catherine,
Aye.
Dennis,
Aye.
and I'm an aye as well. So you are approved. I think if we could follow through on the stakeout, that would be helpful in the next, when is this going to happen?
So we've rescheduled it for April 28th,
Okay, so, in the next week or so, if.
or
we
sorry,
could.
the 29th.
Okay.
Yeah, we can definitely do that.
I'd like to confirm the location.
Sure.
Okay. Well, I thank you all and appreciate the public comment, and I thank the applicants. So I think we've sufficiently drummed that one to death, and you're free to go.
Thank you.
All right, thank you both.
Thanks.
All right, so on to new public hearings. Our first one, 255 Main Street. This is the certificate of appropriateness to install temporary construction signage. Is the application here? There you go,
Yes.
Heather.
Yep.
All right. So tell us, is the applicant here?
Yes, Allison Cutler from.
Hi, Allison. Could you walk us through this?
Sure. I was here a few weeks ago to
Yes.
apply for another construction sign.
Mhm.
And in that meeting, there was a thank you for applying for the construction sign, which in my mind flagged that we had another project down the street, and we did not apply for approval for that construction sign. And unfortunately, it was already in production. So I'm here today more to ask for forgiveness for this sign at 255. But as you can see in the application, this happened to be installed just the day before that last meeting that I attended. So we have I'm gonna call it like a 3-bay sign for Adams and Beasley, Nashada Architects, and the landscape architect, Hillary Holdsworth. This is the mahogany frame installed on the front yard of 255 on Main Street. So
I don't think we've ever made anyone feel guilty enough to come in and present. But thank you for coming in. So
I wanted to respect the,
thank
the
you.
request.
You're very kind. All right, so you could just tell us a little bit more about it, dimensions.
Dimensions are on the second page.
Okay, there
Yes.
they are. So it's 55 inches by 39. It's an existing condition, so, all right, I think we've got it. Thank you, Allison. Let me just go see what the commissioners think. Nia?
Okay, well, thank you very much for coming to us with this. As you may know, I am not a sign fan, but I appreciate that this is what people do now. And I think it's quite large. However, it is neatly containing 3 signs, and I would prefer this to having 3 signs dotted across the front lawn. I think the location has been sensitively done up close to the house and not right, in the inches from the sidewalk.
The fence line. Yes.
So with hesitancy, I'm okay with it.
All right. Thank
Thank
you.
you, Nia. Abigail?
I don't have an objection to it. I pass it each day. It's not obtrusive. I do think this is probably a flag for us now that most renovation projects in town, like real estate signs, have construction signs, and those signs are under our purview because they're usually up longer than 6 months. It probably makes sense to take a look at our guidelines and provide people with some guidance as to if they're putting these up, where they're placed and how long and how big and all of that. Because we don't have any of that, I really don't object to this. I think it's, it will disappear when the project is over. We should probably put an end date that if it's going to be up for, longer than X, we'll review it. Because you don't want them lingering forever.
Right on.
So I think we should put an end date on when it needs to be removed, because, you know, even if the project's not complete, if it's up for a certain period of time, then that gives, you know, plenty of notice and advertising to the people involved in the project. So other than putting a limit on it, in terms of time, I don't have an objection.
Thank you, Abby. Linda?
I agree. I think as long as there's a time frame and it's not sitting there for a year, that'd be fine.
Thank you. You get the award for brevity. Luis?
Not the award from brevity. First, I think that the sign, it's aesthetically pleasing and it's made in good taste. So I congratulate the applicant for this design. Second, I believe that there should be a time limit, which will be the completion of the exterior work on the house, or 1 year, whichever comes first. Other than that, I'm fine with it.
Okay, thank you, sir. Catherine?
I have no objections. I agree that I'm very happy that it was brought to our awareness, and I am also happy that it is, you know, a very subtle sign. So I appreciate that. No objections.
Thank you. And Dennis, last but not least.
It's bigger than I would like, but it's perfectly fine. This is renovations in the interior. Is that it? Stuff we're not going to see?
Mostly renovations to the interior. There are some cosmetic upgrades. We're repainting and repairing a lot of the windows. And
Good.
yeah,
I approve 100%.
Yeah.
Keep doing it.
So there will be some activity on the front elevation.
Yeah. You know how many times this house has been renovated in the last 10 years?
Yeah, we've seen a lot of a lot of
But every
rendering.
3 years.
Yeah.
Anyway,
Well, hopefully our
the
sticks around a little bit
signs-
longer.
The sign's fine.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you. All right. Is there any public comment on the application for the construction signage at 255 Main Street? I am looking for hands. I don't see any. Heather, are there any hands raised that I don't see? Nope. All right. I would look for a motion from the commission, please.
Can I first ask the applicant what she anticipates the need is for time for this?
Time we're expected to be done December, a specific date, we're supposed to be done December 10th of 2021.
Okay.
Are you going to make the motion, Nia?
If
Or
you'd
you
like,
don't have to. I didn't mean
if
to.
you'd like me to.
Sure.
I move that we approve the application for 225 Main Street to install temporary construction signage as submitted for a period not to exceed 1 year.
Second,
All in favor? Nia, you made the motion. I'm assuming you're an aye.
Aye.
Abigail?
Aye.
Melinda?
Aye.
Dennis?
Aye.
Catherine?
Aye.
Luis?
aye.
And I'm an aye too. So you are approved. Thank you, Allison, for being so honest, for coming in.
You're welcome.
We appreciate it and look forward to seeing the project completed.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you.
All right. Have a good night.
All right, you too. Moving right along, folks. 110 Walden Street is our next applicant. This is the Concord Home for the Aged, and this is a certificate to remove an existing metal fire escape and convert exit doors to windows. So is the application, there it is. And could somebody tell me who's presenting for the town? Is that you, Anita? Are you presenting?
I'm actually not presenting. I'm here if there are any questions, but our architect, Carl Packard, who is here, is going to make
Oh,
our
hello,
presentation.
Carl. You're muted though. Can't hear you.
And I also
There you
will
are.
add, I'm the treasurer of the board. The president of our board is also here, Kitsy Rothermel, and the chair of our building committee is here, Tom Bates.
Hello, Tom, and I see Kitsy stepped off the frame for a moment. oh, there you are, Kitsy. Nice to see you.
But Carl is the one who will be presenting tonight.
Okay, so Carl, would you mind walking us through the application, please?
Certainly.
Thank you.
Carl Packard of Red Hawk Studio Architects, 86 Butternut Circle in Concord. So a couple of years back, a group of us, Larry Sorrell, Ann Forbes, and myself, did an historic structures report for this building. And we noticed this obviously non-historical element to the building. We also noticed that there are 3 exit stairs or 3 stairs from the second floor, one of which is fully enclosed, and the building is fully sprinklered. And so question, do we really need this fire escape? It, as I say, it's unhistoric. It's not particularly attractive. And to some, it's also a maintenance problem. You have to get these things inspected every year, and it rusts. And to some extent, it can be dangerous in itself. I don't know if anybody who's fallen off it, but if it could be. So we looked into the code issues and had a code consultant, Norton Rimmer, do an analysis of this. And indeed, we are able to remove the fire escape and still be compliant with the building code. The fire escape is currently accessed by 3 doorways that are in the location of former windows. And so when we take the fire escape away, we want to replace those doorways with basically windows similar to the other windows in the building, which would have been the same as the windows that were in those openings originally. And so I don't know if I have control over this thing, but you can see that I don't know, can you show the, yes, good.
There we go. Okay.
Okay. So this shows where the windows are. This shows the view from Walden Street, which is really dominated by that classic Greek Revival front facade with the pediment and the 4 columns. This area to the back is not dominant, and also I think will be improved by not having a metal fire escape there. We plan to replace the windows with made to order, custom made wooden windows that would match the profiles of the existing original windows in the house, most of which have this what they call lamb's tongue Muntin profile. And I think that's the whole story.
And I'm looking at the application materials. Are there specifications for the windows, Carl? Are they custom?
Yeah. I did put in
okay, so I see architectural components in Montague.
Yeah.
Well, this is a project that makes Dennis smile. I can just see him smile.
It's wonderful. Yes, tremendous.
Oh yeah, I see that. Okay.
Okay, terrific. And I think I understand the 3 windows in question from the elevation.
Yeah,
they're the ones that have the little hexagon beside them.
that's correct. Yep.
2, 3,
And 4.
it looks like 4.
Yes, it's 4 windows. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's
4
right. There's the
windows.
one in the office. Yeah.
I'm not sure how to not say this would be a big improvement, but I guess I would say the obvious. It seems like a real improvement to the building, but let me see if the commission has any comments. Nia?
This looks absolutely fabulous to me. Home run, love it.
Luis?
I said exactly the same words as Nia.
Right, Abigail.
Yeah, I mean, the fire escape is hideous. It'll be such an improvement to have it removed. So I think we're all pleased.
Melinda.
Of course, it's fabulous. I am only curious as to how people are going to get out, though. I'm sure you've got this figured out if the building should burn. Is there another exit?
There are 3 stairways from the second floor that provide egress.
Okay.
Oh, and the other thing I didn't mention, the building is fully sprinklered too.
You did mention that.
That was the other element in bringing it to code compliance.
So there's a life safety plan.
By code, second-story windows do have to be of a certain, have a certain size opening. And these openings basically do comply with that.
Okay.
The part that will be open when you raise the lower sash.
Mhm. Okay, thank you.
And this has all been submitted to the building department, the code compliance.
Well, no, it hasn't been permitted yet. The
Okay.
discussion with the building department, but it hasn't been permitted yet.
Okay, I would say just to Melinda, the code compliance summary will be submitted as part of the permit application.
Not
Oh,
really
yes.
worried. I was really more curious, but yeah, thank you.
Okay. All right, thank you. Luis. All right, did I ask you already?
You already did.
I'm sorry, I just
Be
changed my
careful.
screen.
Talk again.
Catherine. I'm gonna ask you again, right? Catherine.
Yeah, I think it'll be a great improvement. So
Okay, great.
pleased
And
to see it. Yeah.
thank you. And Dennis, not last but not least.
Fabulous. Move ahead.
Okay. All right. So is there any public comment on the application at 110 Walden Street? And I'm looking for hands. I don't see any hands. All right. So let's take it back to the commission. I'd look for a motion, please.
I move that we approve the application of 110 Walden Street to remove the existing metal fire escape and related modifications to the window and trim, with the exit doors being replaced with 4 new wood windows to match the current windows on the house.
And could I get a second?
Second.
Second. All right. All in favor. I'm just going to go around. Nia,
Aye.
Abigail,
Aye.
Melinda,
Aye.
Luis,
Aye.
Catherine,
Aye.
Dennis,
Aye.
and I'm an aye as well. So you are approved. Thank you. Nice, concise presentation, and thank you all for coming. Kitsy, nice to see you. Carl, Tom, Anita, thank you.
Thank you very much. Yeah.
And good
Great.
luck with the work.
Thank you very much. I'd like to add, Peter, that while we have requested CPA funds for the coming year, we're actually paying for this project with our own money, just because we want to get it done. And this is part of our match for the CPA funds.
Okay, thank you.
Great.
Good to know. All right, thanks, folks. You're free to go. All right, moving right along. Commission, we are now at 155 Monument Street. This is Martha Collins Gray. Hello, Martha. This is a certificate for alterations to the front entrance of the home to construct a new porch and replace windows and doors.
Yes. How are you, Peter?
I'm well, thank you. And you?
We're very well. Thanks for listening to our application.
Of course. Heather, would you mind putting the application up? I've got it on my screen, but I'm not sharing screens. All right. And Martha, are you going to walk us through it?
Sure. It's a 1916 bungalow, and it has a lot of arts and crafts, historical features. It has the low-pitched roof line, and it has the exposed rafters, which are all going to be restored. In the 50s, the owners took off the original front entry of the house, so we're adding that back in. We're removing the stone steps that are there now and the wrought iron banister. We're replacing the front door with a craftsman style front door. Let's see, and it'll also have arts and crafts columns and a roof overhang so that we can remove the aluminum gutters in the front and the downspout. Let's see, we will have new shingles on the whole house with new paint. Some of the windows are going to be replaced with Marvin all-clad true divided light. It's called coconut cream. It's a light cream that will match all the painted wood trim. And we do have original sills on the south side of the house. So when we replace a window, we'll add those to the new windows. We'll have new garage doors to match their arts and crafts. They are from Overhead Door Company. And that's it.
All right. And I'm just looking through the, we're looking at the same thing, elevations. I think we're familiar with the house.
Yes.
And
too familiar.
I know. And then I see some other cut sheets for things like, so there's a light fixture, some colors. Okay, there you go.
Yes, there are. So the paint colors are there. The windowsill to show you. Let me just get to the other materials. So we have submitted the plans and elevations. And in the material specifications, we have the light fixture. And then we have the roof. I forgot about the roof. We'll put a new roof on. And it'll be in the estate gray. Yep, that's right. And then the Marvin windows, the true divided light. And the garage doors. And then there's a long brochure, I apologize for, but we're the Bristol wide 580 BW, and that will be painted.
Okay, gotcha. All right, I don't have any questions at the moment, so let's go round the horn. Nia, I'm gonna pick on you first again.
Hi, Martha.
Hi, Nia, how are you?
Good, how are you?
Very well, thanks.
I have a couple of questions, please.
Okay.
Just out of curiosity, do you have any photographs of the original entrance, before the previous owners ripped it off?
No, I
Do you have
searched.
any historical references at all? No?
Nothing. No, it was Gladys Brooks's home.
Right.
And I went to the library, tried to do some research. There are very few photographs of her and her house. So nothing. I couldn't come up. I would have loved to have found some original pictures.
All right. Okay. Thank you. I also wanted to ask on the elevations of the facade that faces the street.
Yes.
You've told us about the new entrance that you would like to do.
Yes.
But on the left side of that front facade, the plans show I believe it's a screen porch changing to columns with a different arrangement of the screening. Are you planning to do that?
Yes, we're planning to restore that porch, and
That's not the facade, Heather. Keep going.
I'm sorry? Oh,
I just wanted to get the right, yes. So that facade there that we can see on the left side.
yes.
You are planning to do that?
Yes.
Okay. Thank you. I just wanted to clarify that.
Yeah, sorry I missed that.
No. I'm sorry, I made a little list here. Excuse me for addressing it. There are quite a few fenestration changes here. I just think it probably is prudent for us to do a site visit and just all take a closer look at the house in view of this new application. And that's all I have to say.
Thank you, Nia. All right, Abigail.
So I had a quick question. Where is the new, I like the new light fixture. Where is it going exactly?
It's going between the, so on the
North.
north elevation, right between the two garage doors.
Garages.
Got it. Okay. Are there any other exterior lighting changes?
No,
No. Okay. So you don't have any light above the front entrance door or anything?
yes, there's a light fixture on the left, but we'll have lights in the ceiling.
Lights in the ceiling. Okay. All right. I agree with Nia. I don't have any strong concerns upon looking at the application now, because there are either fenestration or structural changes to every facade of the house. I do think a site visit is warranted, just because I think we have to take in the full scope of it. But I think overall it's moved in the right direction. And obviously, you know, we've discussed this house before, and you know, the 50s additions and how they weren't fitting. And this is it's nice to see it bringing back to some of its architectural roots. So I'm pleased with the application as of right now. I do just want to take a closer look just to make sure that we're considering it from every angle.
All right, thank you, Abby. Melinda.
So I feel similarly. I want to get a feel for the porches, which from these drawings, I just can't quite visualize that, but I like the garage doors. So I look forward to taking a second look.
Okay, thank you. Luis.
I think that this is a very fine proposal, and as far as the design is concerned, and given the magnitude of it, I think we should do a site visit. But overall, I have a positive reaction to the whole thing.
Thank you, sir. Catherine.
I agree. I think I really appreciate the fact that there's an eye towards retaining the architectural integrity and the craftsman details. So I too am looking forward to a site visit, but I think it looks very good.
Thank you. And Dennis.
Yeah, at this point, I agree with everybody. And I look forward to a site visit, and then I might have some comments.
I'll always have to reserve that possibility. That's all right. Okay, so I have no further questions. And let me just say real quick, if assuming we're going to do a site visit, that would be April 15th, correct?
Yes.
And I'm looking at Martha, the applicant. Is 8 a.m. too early? Would
No,
that be
that's-
possible?
That's
Okay.
fine. Yep.
Okay, and I don't think that there's much to stake out, but there might be a point or two. We just want to see the corners of things. Okay, so
Yeah.
have I heard from all the commissioners? I think I have. All right, so let me open this up to public comment. Is there public comment on the application for work at 155 Monument Street? And I am going to look for raised hands in the participants list. I see none, and I don't see anybody waving at me, although somebody could be. Nope. All right, so I think we're going to ask for a motion to continue this. Would someone make that motion, please?
I move that we continue the application for 155 Monument Street to our next meeting on April 15th with a site visit at 8 a.m. that morning.
Second.
All right, all in favor? I'm going to say Nia and Abigail are
Aye.
ayes because you made it and seconded. Melinda.
Aye.
Dennis.
Aye.
Catherine.
Aye.
Luis.
Aye.
I'm an aye as well. Martha, thank you, and we'll see
Okay.
you in 2 weeks.
Okay.
And if you could stake out, I think it's just, if anything is changing on the site, we'd like to see the points.
Okay, yeah,
think-
it lines up with the house, but we can put stakes in.
I think
for
it's just that one point, and then I think the roof lines are pretty self-explanatory. There's no need to do.
Are you
the-
talking about the front porch?
I think so, yes.
Okay,
To the right.
okay, sounds good. We'll
Okay.
see you on the 15th.
All right, thank you for your
Okay,
application. All right.
Okay,
we'll
thank
see
you,
soon.
everyone. Okay.
All right, and let's see, last but not least on our list tonight is 98 Monument Street. These are the, is it Siro? Am I pronouncing that properly?
Very good. Most
Yeah.
people do not do that correctly the first
I
time.
went to French Catholic grade school. This
Did you really?
is this is an
Oh,
application to
français. Très bien.
demolish and reconstruct the nuns were not very nice to me. To reconstruct center section of home with a small one-story addition, construct a new shed dormer and garage entry roof, and replace some windows. All right, and let me see if can we get the application up on the screen, or maybe the plans and elevations. And welcome to Melanie and Adam. And I think what we'd like you to do is walk us through the application. So are the elevation and plan drawings the best way to do that?
Can we start with the pictures? Because I think because our
Okay.
house is very, very
Let's do it.
funky.
Let's do it your way.
So if you could just go to the next one. So what we've been trying to do, right, for all of this is the front of the house, and we want to keep kind of the overall historic look of this house because
We've already renovated the shutters and the fence. Yeah.
right, like we love the historic part of Concord and whatnot. And so what we've tried to do is fix some issues to the inside of the house with as minimal external impact as possible. And Marshall, our architect, is on the line, I believe, as well. And I humbly think he's done a great job at this, trying to kind of fix kind of the nuances to the inside of the house. But
With as little as a footprint change as possible.
right. So all the changes we're proposing externally are things, for the most part, you will not see except for a small corner from the street views.
Okay.
And so we want to add a little corner to the family room. So in the bottom left picture that we're seeing right now, there will be, and this is up the driveway a bit, there will be that one small family room addition that we're hoping you'll approve there. And then just changing, if you're looking at the top right, the back part of that to the third floor, we're just adding some eaves and some windows. And then because the house is so old and we just figured it'd be good to kind of go in one fell swoop to ask for new windows as well, because they are not energy efficient. I sit in my office, which is that little small room on the top left with a winter coat in the winter because it's so cold by the window. That we figured it would be good to replace the windows with more high energy efficient windows, but ones that hopefully still respect the historic nature of the house.
Yeah.
And so that section on the bottom left, that smaller section, is what we're proposing to tear down and basically rebuild again externally, keeping the overall aesthetic the same white siding,
The roof,
black shutters, and then raise the ceilings a little bit because upstairs it's just a 6-foot ceiling, and down here it's, I forget, Marshall, how much is it down here?
It's under
6'9". 6'9" on the first floor.
Yeah.
Yeah. Do you want to go
So
through
did
the proposed drawings so they could see the?
Yes, please, Marshall, take it from here.
So,
And I should say, Marshall, you came in and we previewed this about 2 months ago, right?
Yes.
Okay, so
That's
we've
right.
seen this before. Okay, it's ringing a bell all of a sudden.
So my name is Marshall McLean. I live at 128 Bedford Street in Concord. So the original house is 1827, example of the Federal House Early Greek Revival, according to Ms. Voss at the library, who I spoke with. But we're really dealing with 3 sections on this house. There's the original main house, and I'll refer to that as the main house. There's the center wing, which is what we're proposing to rebuild completely. And there's what was once a barn and is now more of a barn carriage house in the rear. So just to talk a little bit about how we ended up here, when I started working with Adam and Melody, their goal was to improve the flow in that center wing. That was really the focus, because the original rooms in the front are going to kind of remain where they are, and the stair was going to remain where it is, the central stair. But the middle of the house, the center wing, had a stairway right in the middle of it, which went to the second floor and went to the basement. And spaces were constricted and they were low, and the flow from that center wing to the front of the house was poor. So we went through one round of design where we did a complete renovation of the existing wing. So what you're looking at here are the existing elevations. And you can see this is the view from the front and from the south. So the left-hand gable structure is the main house. The middle section is the center wing. And the right section on the bottom drawing is that carriage house garage. It has a finished guest suite above and a garage below and a mudroom in the back. All of that will stay as is. Obviously, everything in the main house will stay as is, with the exception we're asking to do a rear dormer on the back. But these are the existing drawings and the existing plans, and we have some 3D views.
Whoa. What just happened?
So these are the existing plans, and there's some 3D views. And then there should be a set of drawings which take you through the proposed. Okay, so this is the site plan.
Yep.
And so it's that center section that we're asking to to completely rebuild. But I just want to walk you through why we ended up there, because it wasn't our intent to do that originally. So we removed this stair in the middle of the center section, and the goal was to create an open kitchen family dining. And in order to improve the flow from that middle section to the front of the house, we're proposing to add the small one-story addition, which if you want to scroll down, you can see it in elevation, or you can actually see it right there in the courtyard, if you will, which I believe is pretty much out of sight of the public way. And that just, and if you scroll down to the first floor plan, it links the space to the front stair hall of the existing house, and provides a little bit more room in what will now be the family room, with the dining room next to it and then the kitchen behind. On the second floor, which includes the master suite and a laundry room in the proposed plan and a bathroom, that was to be all renovated. So in the original design, we renovated the first floor space, and we proposed to renovate the second floor space, and as well to add the dormer and stair to the attic, which I can go into in a minute. But the plans that we ended up with look pretty much like what was presented today. These are the plans of the complete rebuild, but the plans of the original renovation were pretty much the same. We were linking that space above the garage to the main house on the second floor with a hallway, which there was no way to get to that space above the garage from the second floor. You had to go up from below, behind the kitchen. So the problem was, when we were done with this design, we loved the plan, but we had no stair to the basement because we had to take it out. The ceiling heights on the first floor were 6'9", and beams below that. The ceiling heights in the second floor were very low in places, and there was a 16-inch change in floor level from the main house second floor to the middle wing second floor. There was a bedroom in the front. We were adding a new bathroom on the second floor, which was serving that bedroom, and it was three steps down from the bedroom, which isn't great for the middle of the night. And so after looking at it, in talking about it, and as well, that center section, actually, if you look at photographs over the past 100 years, was built over time. The original house had a small 2-story section off the back side of the main house, the rear wall of the main house, and then a 1-story connector to what was then a barn. And then in the 1960s, a full second floor was put on, and I believe the master suite was put on. And so it was built over time in 2 or 3 sections. And so in renovating it, you're dealing with 3 different floor plates that are kind of tied together, and structurally it was going to be very difficult. So we realized that that tearing it down and building new in the same footprint with the same detail and look of the original made sense. In addition, there's a crawl space below the existing middle section now, and the proposed would provide a new finished basement with a stair that we could locate. And well, the solution for the stair in the first go around was to put it, and really the only solution was to put it under the main stair in the middle of the house, in the center section of the house. The problem with that was that it's not wide enough to accommodate a stair by code to the basement, and it would have to be completely rebuilt and widened by as much as a foot. So we were rebuilding the entire stairway, and that was the original stair for the house. So in the current plan.
Wait, Marshall, can I just stop you there? We wanted to keep that original staircase in the front too, just to kind of keep the internal historic look of the house as well, and not have to make that bigger enough to code, because it's a beautiful staircase. I mean, it is old, but you know, we wanted to try to keep that intact if at all possible.
Yeah, time capsule the front main house as best, if not do a tasteful, you know, basically preservation as well as enhance some of the details on it, and sort of we foresee in the future being able to show people the front and sort of say this is 1826.
So in the original design, the renovation, we were going to have to rebuild that stair completely. In the proposed, we leave that stair alone, and we put a stair under the stair that goes to the garage guest room suite in the entryway there. And it provides direct access in the right spot to the finished basement space, which will be under the new addition, or the new center section. So that's the reasoning. So when we talked to our builder, James Dwyer, about the cost of what we were trying to do relative to the cost of rebuilding, and we looked at all of the we looked at the headroom issues, the floor level changes. It just made sense to start fresh in that center section. So building on the same footprint, building with the exact same detail as the existing house in the existing wing, center wing. The differences being we will raise, you can maybe scroll down to the elevation, the south elevation. We'll raise the eave on the south wall to now align with the eave of the main house. Currently it's down about, I don't know, 18 inches or so. On the south side, you can see there, that's this 1-story family room addition proposed on the right there on the left bottom. And on the right, there are 2 French doors or sliders that exist today on the house, or they'll look exactly as they do. The window layouts, because of the change in the layout on the second floor and on the first floor, will change slightly. It was going to do so in the original renovation version, and it's the same on this one. That's now that hallway that connects the second floor of the garage to the second floor of the main house along this side. On the back, on the other side, if you scroll down again, that, by the way, is you can see a section cut through the garage, so you can see the new stairway to the basement below the existing stairway to the second level. And now that second level connects through that door opening into the second floor on the other end. And then on the back side, that is the master bedroom wing. In the center there, that hipped roof, that roof with the rebuilt center wing roof above it or behind it. And that roof will raise up about 14 inches and will stop just short because of the eave on the garage in the rear. There's no good way to bring those two together. So we're stopping just short vertically of that eave there, so it'll slide in under it. The little section that you, one-story piece that you see there, just kind of against the gable end wall of the original main front part of the house, is a library that will remain, and the little shed roofed element is the current pantry, which will get rebuilt in this project. So what's new there is that hipped piece and the little pantry, and then the roof and structure behind it. Everything to the left of that is existing to remain. And you can scroll down and see some of the 3D views of the model. This is the proposed, and this is a good time to talk about that rear dormer. So the existing house has a stairway in the center stair hall on the second floor, which you can hardly call it a stairway. It's more like a ship's ladder that goes to the finished third floor of the main house. There's really no way to rebuild the stairway without adding a dormer to provide headroom. So this is a shed dormer that will, I think, pretty much be not seen from the street, which allows for a landing at the top for a proper stair from the second floor to the two rooms in the finished attic space above the main house. In addition, we're adding a little roof, proposing to add a little roof and over what is the main and everyday entry for everybody on this to the house, which is that little door on the left side of the red garage barn. That roof element doesn't exist, that's proposed. And all of the windows in the house are proposed to be replaced with Marvin clad ultimate double hung windows. The details of the house, clapboards, shutters, shingles, gutters will be replaced to match what's there now. Light fixtures on the exterior will be saved and replaced. So we're not proposing any new light fixtures. Chimneys will remain unless the demo requires. The only one I'm uncertain about is that chimney that's on the west side of the proposed master bedroom addition there that sticks up between the master bedroom addition and the library. I don't know if that will survive the demolition, but it will be rebuilt in kind if it doesn't. The other two should be fine. So anyway, we feel like when we're done, when the project's completed, you're going to end up with something that looks pretty much like it looks now. And certainly it doesn't look any different than it would have if we had renovated the house, other than the slight change of the eave heights.
Thank you, Marshall. I noticed that the fenestration's a little bit different in the rebuilt. The windows are slightly larger than the existing, but that's, I mean, I would say in general, this is in keeping with the character of the house and the massing. So I had one question. What was my one question? And now that I'm
Only one? Marshall must have done a great job.
well, no, we're going to have a site visit. And then Dennis is going to have 50 questions. No, oh, I know. Coming along Monument Street, really, we can't see much. I mean, from the public way, we can see the back part of the center L, but really not the front.
Yeah, no, I don't think you can.
There's trees blocking it from the perfect angle to see that south side is blocked by some trees at the mailbox
You
easement.
can't say that, Adam. Trees don't count.
Okay.
Right, it's really just, but I think
Are we allowed
generally-
to take them down?
I'm just trying to get an idea. Okay, I mean, thank you. That's a very complete presentation. Probably the non-architects on the commission are going to have more questions than me, but I think we would want to do a site visit in a couple weeks. I'm going to suggest that just because I think it would make a lot of sense. There's quite a bit to digest.
Yeah.
Although I think it becomes pretty clear when you're standing looking at the house, not that I have, but I'm guessing that.
Oh, you were the one outside last night?
Right, see, there you go.
You were there for 3 hours.
Black turtleneck.
staring.
And the,
Yeah.
that wasn't me.
Next
So
time I'll lend you my invisibility coat.
Yeah.
All right, so I let me just see if the commissioners have any questions. I do think we'll want to come out in a couple weeks. So let me just float that quickly. Folks, Melanie and Adam, is the 15th at 8:30
Here, actually,
AM?
a.m.?
yes.
Will that
Yes.
work?
We can do that. Yes.
That's the start of our children's long weekend, so we were planning on leaving that evening, so we're around in the morning.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, great. All right, let me go around and see what the
It's also my
commissioners-
birthday.
Oh,
Oh.
so you're going to be providing donuts.
Yes. There'll be balloons
No,
at
no,
the end
no,
of the
And
driveway.
mimosas, if that will help the situation.
We'll try to remember your birthday. Let me just go around see what the commissioners have to say. Nia, any thoughts?
I just wondered if I could see the existing south elevation, please.
Yeah, that's a good comparison.
That's in the other group. Yeah, go right there. Yep.
Go down.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah, that's it right there.
So you'll see the first floor addition is.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
I guess for me, the site visit is critical. I am concerned. I know there's a lot we won't be able to see. I'm concerned about how that change in the ridge height is going to impact that whole facade. So I think the site visit for me is critical.
Sure.
I also wanted to ask, I know you want to replace all the windows. May I ask, please, about certainly in the original part of the house, what we are currently dealing with? Are they original windows?
Given the age of the house, I'm going to have to say no. I think no matter how great a window is, I doubt it can last 200 years.
Oh, I don't know.
Sure it can.
We don't know.
Yeah.
We don't know. So we have some. So the thing you're looking at right now, the bay window.
They've added storm covers
on
to
the
them.
bottom left. That one was added in the 1960s. So that one wasn't original to the house. The rest of them, we don't know. We've gone to the library, we've gone to the town to pull all the records and all the construction documents that we can. I don't know how old those are.
Okay.
What's funny
certainly-
is we have a
Sure.
picture of the house that had a huge front porch over it.
Yeah.
There was a giant front porch on this home, which is very interesting.
Right. Well, generally, back to the, thank you, back to the windows. I will defer to Dennis on this, but generally speaking, particularly on a house that's this important and of this age, we at all costs try and preserve original windows, certainly on the front facade and possibly on the sides of the, that front piece.
Yep. Understood.
So that is something that I think requires further review.
What do you mean at all costs? Like you
No,
want to keep
I don't mean it. Sorry.
Okay.
I don't.
Like the town's gonna pay to keep them?
No, sorry. I did not mean at all costs, but that is certainly one of our main priorities is to retain.
We truly value the historic nature of the home we have purchased. And even if we realize and have someone come and take a look at what we have and suggest, even if it comes to a higher price point, of a replica or something that could get us closer to the true, historical nature of it, we would jump at the opportunity to be able to do that. Honestly.
Terrific.
Yes.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you, Nia. Abigail.
So likewise, I think the site visit is really important. I similarly have concerns about the change in the
Planning
roof
of
height
street.
and massing on that south elevation. In full disclosure, we looked at buying this house before you did.
I
So
think all of Concord did.
yeah,
That's
so
what I'm learning.
I completely understand your programmatic concerns with the center section.
Yeah.
That was our concern with the house.
If you have 3 kids, you can't live here.
Yeah, that's what.
Yeah.
So I completely understand the need to make changes to the center section. I do think, at least as far as the little study goes, that's so frosty and frigid. I do think there was some original wavy glass panes in those windows, if I remember correctly. So
Yeah,
those windows might need a closer look. Particularly, those might need to be restored rather than replaced.
Sure.
So I think the windows, that's always a sticking point for us. There's funny things that we get stuck in our craw: chimneys, windows, things like that. We get very funny feedback.
Signs.
Yeah,
signage.
signs. So don't be surprised if we kind of nitpick
Chimneys,
over this.
chimneys.
Yeah, if we
Well,
nitpick
this-
over those things.
I look at this opportunity as an opportunity to learn from you as well. And I'm sure you have references to, historians who can help us, because
Yeah.
that's something
And
that can.
this is obviously, we take all of the applications that we consider very seriously. This is
Yep.
obviously a very prominent, very important house on a very prominent, very important street.
Right.
So we're going to have to be really thoughtful and considerate about it, because any changes you make, all of these houses have been changed over time, and that's entirely appropriate. But how those changes get made and the scale of them, particularly in this, I think are really important. So I'm excited about the site visit. I'm definitely curious about the ridge lines and the rear dormer and all of that. So,
Sure.
but I think, I understand your need to, the center section needs to be reworked. So I'm looking forward to the site visit.
Great. Thank you.
Thank you, Abigail. Melinda.
I have nothing to add. I look forward to seeing this up close and personal in 2 weeks.
Okay, terrific. Luis?
I think this is a great application, and I look forward to the site visit.
All right, and Catherine?
I feel the same way. I don't have anything further to add right now.
And Dennis, last but not least.
Yeah, of course, I'll be on my window jag on this. I'm not in favor of replacing windows that are early. So I agree with Nia. They really need to be looked into. We need to know more about the age of the windows, because you can make them tight. They may not be perfect, but you can do a lot of work to windows to get them almost to where new ones are. And they do make a difference in the depth of the front of the building and how the building reads. For the rest of it, I really agree with everybody that we need a site visit to look at the massing and how that all works through.
All right. I think, did I hear from everybody? Yes. Okay, so let me see if there's any public comment on the application for 98 Monument Street. I believe we're going to continue this 2 weeks to a site visit. So is there public comment on the application for work on 98 Monument Street? I see tumbleweeds. I see no hands. All right, then I would look for a motion from the commission, please.
I move that we continue the application for 98 Monument Street to our next meeting on April 15th with a site visit that is scheduled for 8:30 that same morning.
Second.
All right, and Marshall, let me ask you, because you've been through this drill before. I don't know how much needs to be staked out or can be staked out.
The footprint certainly we could stake out the footprint of the addition on the south side.
But I think the rest of it is sort of relative.
I mean, the eave, we're aligning with the existing eave. So, I mean, I don't know if you need to, there's nothing.
I don't think.
I mean,
We could string across
Honestly,
a rope to show you the new height, or it's up to
No,
you.
you'll get birds all over your roof.
Too late for that, but yeah.
Okay. All right, I think we've had, who said, did somebody second that motion?
Wasted.
Yes. All right, let's go around. Nia, you're an aye. Abigail?
Aye.
Dennis?
Aye.
Catherine?
Aye.
Luis?
Aye.
Linda, and I'm an aye.
Aye.
We both have voted at the same time. Sorry. All right, thank you all. A very good presentation, nice presentation as usual, Marshall. Thank you. And Melanie and Adam, we'll see you in 2 weeks at 8:30 in the morning.
8:30. Great.
Thank you
All right.
guys very much.
Nicely
Appreciate
done.
your
Thanks for your
consideration.
time.
Thank you very much.
No, thank you for your time and the completeness
Yeah.
of the application.
You as well.
All right. All right, commissioners, we are moving right along. I think that was our final new application, I believe. Correct, Heather? Is there anything, there wasn't any last minute under the gate additions?
Oh, not application wise.
All right, so we are on to other business, and boy, it'd be great if we could get out before 9 o'clock. So no long speeches.
It was a dark and stormy
Oh
night.
God, I know. All right, so our first item is 59 Walden Street. This is a preliminary discussion about adding a second story to 59 Walden Street. Now, I don't think, is there material to look at, Heather?
I'm going to present some material.
Okay.
Yeah.
Andy,
Yes.
welcome.
Thank you.
All right, let's see what now this is just to see kind of our general reaction.
That's right. The
Gotcha.
preliminary informal meeting, and you got items after us, so we are going to go right through this quickly.
Okay, no, I don't mean to rush you. Please.
That's okay. So Heather, I'm just going to try to share my screen here. And okay, hoping you guys can see see that. Let me just move this out of the way. Too many screens here. So yes, thank you for taking a few minutes to see us tonight. We are, as Peter said, looking to, jumping right to the punchline, add a second story to this building. So here's who's here tonight. Edie and Chris Hill are here. They're sitting in my conference room down the hallway, and I'm here with Mike Liebeck. He's across the way in his office, and we're located at 200 Baker Ave. So the building, I'm sure most of you are pretty familiar with. It's right downtown. It's 59 Walden Street. It's what I always call the Concord Cooperative Bank, since that's where I started going with my mom with my passbook savings many years ago. That's the building.
All right.
I think we're all pretty familiar with it. It's right next to 51 Walden. I'm just going to take you around it real quickly. We believe the building was built in like 1959, so it's not a historic building, but it's within your district. It's right next to 51 Walden and 69 Walden, and across the street from the church I grew up in, got married in, the Unitarian Congregational.
Oh.
And then right behind it, where I went to Boy Scouts, the First Parish Church. So anyway,
all right.
There was a study done by the town that we were given. Ray Matty gave it to me, actually. It's a 31-page study just about this building, and maybe you guys are familiar with it, maybe you're not. I extracted about 5 relevant pictures just to whip through you quickly, just so you can see how we got to where we're getting. So basically, this is all from this study. There's the building in the middle with the parking lot in the back. What they're showing here is on the left is what it looks like today. And then the town did several studies on making the building bigger for various use groups. The one that we're going to pursue is just the one that's just slightly bigger and does not change the footprint of the building. So that's in the study, once again, what it looks like next to 51 and 69 Walden. And then the proposed second floor, which is pretty much exactly what we're proposing. So that's what it will look like in context. So the proposed use for the building is going to be a residential real estate office. The main level that you walk in today will be sort of reception and meeting rooms for customers. And the lower level, it's kind of a basement, will be offices and a training room for the real estate agents. And the new upper floor will be office space for the agents. So Mike here put together these sort of 3D images so we could start showing you some design stuff. So once again, this is just what it looks like today. And so there it all is, 4 pictures. So our first scheme, we got 2 schemes to show you. One is, and the footprints and the floor plans and everything are the same, but doing a white clapboard second story and leaving the brick on the first floor. Changing out the windows to, we think the black looks sharp. So just take you through this as we move around the building. This is the back. I know you guys aren't really as concerned about the back, but you know, it's part of the building, right? So there it is. Our second, so they're all together.
Okay.
Our second scheme, we decided to get rid of the 1959 brick and do the wood clapboard on the entire building.
Nice.
It's a more expensive solution, but I think it's something that Edie and Chris are willing to do.
We tend to prefer the more expensive option, just so you know.
And architects do too. So just that's really it. So just where we're at right now, we spent the day with the structural engineer, and he did a lot of calculations, and he's determined that we can add a second story, a top story to this building. Consulted with a general contractor who actually helped with the some interior minor demolition for the structural engineer, and he's looked at it and feels that it's a feasible project. And so tonight we're just, you know, this is our sort of initial presentation to you folks, and looking for your thoughts, opinions, and you know, we're ready to move ahead with the next steps with the town. We will have to talk with the planning board. I talked with Ray about that a little bit this morning, and because we are adding on square footage, we have to show them that we have to still have the proper parking. So that we'll deal with those folks. But that said, any questions, or I can certainly go back to any.
Okay, no, thank you, Andy. That's a very complete presentation. Let me just go around and see if there are any thoughts from the commission. Nia, excuse me.
I guess my first reaction is I don't necessarily see any problem with putting on a second story, but for me, my main concern would be what the streetscape is. So when you're looking, excuse me, head on, how this building compares with the ones immediately either side. And further. So, excuse me. So you better go on, Peter. How the massing appears in relation to the other houses.
Nia's comments are being swallowed up.
Sorry about that.
Okay.
I need an inhaler.
Okay. Were you done, Nia? We'll come back to you.
No,
Luis,
go ahead.
Luis, what are your thoughts?
I don't have any objections with the overall design and the addition of the second floor. I think that when in a structure like this, which currently is more or less harmonious with the streetscape, then it's very important to give a very careful consideration to the threshold between the street and the building itself. So I would encourage the owners and the applicants, the future applicants, to explore all the architectural possibilities, not only to make it functional and practical, but also to make it to have some historical evocations, to say so, which goes beyond from the simple functionality of a modern approach, which is what I'm seeing right now. So that's the only suggestion that I would make to explore this aspect. Other than that, I think that is a fine design.
Thank you, Luis. Abigail?
Yeah, I agree. You know, I think the context is really important. So in looking at, you know, the proposed schemes in a standalone way, I don't have a strong objection to a second floor, but it's really difficult to judge them without the context of, you know, the historic home, you know, the playhouse next to it. And then also the views. Yeah, so that, that gives it a little bit of context, which I think is helpful. I'm concerned about massing, as I always am, and I'm concerned about the views, not just along the streetscape, but also, to the first parish behind, the visibility of the steeple, all of that. So I think my first impression, and it seems like others, is it's not objectionable out of hand, but in terms of what it looks like, how it fits into the streetscape, and the massing of it, I think those are things that we would spend a lot of time looking at.
Mhm. Yep.
Thank you, Abigail. And Melinda.
My first glimpse of, and hi Andy, by the way, I just said, because I've never thought it was a terribly attractive building. It's sort of low slung there next to the two that are second stories. Certainly the best idea of the 4 or 5 that the town that you showed us originally, this is by far the nicest. I like it a lot. I'm not wild about the black windows, even though you think they look sharp. I think they'll make it look a little too modern when you've got 2 antique buildings on either side, but we can talk about that later. I'm actually a little sorry that, not to hurt Edith and Chris's feelings, but I feel like we're getting 3 new real estate companies in town between now and whenever.
No, we already exist.
What?
Not downtown. We're already located in Concord. We're on Baker Avenue, but obviously not downtown.
I do know that because I'm a realtor myself, but I do remember reading an article a couple of years ago in the Globe about how Lexington was ruining its downtown by putting too many real estate offices in. But that's there's, I guess with the internet now and nobody shopping except for online, we're not going to have as many stores as we used to have. I have no objection to what you're showing us right now. I think it's very attractive. I think we may tweak it, but I actually think it'll be nicer than the current building that's there.
Thank you. And Andy, I don't think it's actually zoned for retail, right? Is that correct?
That's correct. So Ray was looking into that for me, and he said real estate and banking are in the same category.
Yeah, I always heard it had to be a bank in there, but maybe you're probably more on top of it than I would.
All right, thank you, Melinda. Catherine.
So I have to admit, when I first heard the words adding a second story, I was concerned. But I agree with my fellow commissioners that I actually feel like, in essence, the new structure with the second floor will actually, from a massing perspective and just sort of in terms of the streetscape, it will actually make this building look much more harmonious in conjunction with the flanking structures. So I do think it will be a great improvement. I do have strong feelings about the, I guess it's going to be white clapboard versus the brick and clapboard combination. I think the white clapboard structure would overall look much more cohesive and better in the context of the street. So I agree. I think we're going to need to pay attention to certainly a lot of the details when the structure is completed and finalized in terms of planning. But I think it's going to be an improvement. I think it'll look nice.
Thank you, Catherine. Dennis.
I don't have a lot to add. I agree with almost everything that's been said. I always thought this was a funny little building there. It just didn't seem to fit in with the streetscape. So I think a second floor is a great idea. I always think sort of putting a wooden top on a brick building, it looks like you put a wooden top on a brick building. I think the white clapboard or some other color, it doesn't have to be white, clapboard, I think will be quite nice. So, so far, I don't have any real problems.
Thank you, Dennis. And Andy, the only thing I would add is that this is your shtick. So the character of the massing is unobjectionable. It's just like, is it a church? Is it an office building? That whole, the sort of charge of how do you make it a unique enough building? That'll be the fun part of the design. So I think it'd be nice to, frankly, that building has also struck me. The existing building is a bit of an oddball. Although we at First Parish used to steal parking spots in the back on Sundays. So that was our overflow lot. So I think, generally, I think I'd say steady as she goes. We'd look forward to seeing more of it. And I don't know that there's much else we can do at this point other than to say, yeah, we have no strong objections.
Okay,
Is
thank
that
you.
helpful?
Yeah,
Yeah,
super helpful.
Very
Yeah.
helpful.
Yeah,
Okay.
I got to tell you, I got out of my car to take this picture yesterday morning. Some woman comes up behind me. She says, "What are you doing?" She says, "I hope you're going to do something with that." and she like muttered something like "ugliest building in town," and then on her way, I'm like, "Oh boy."
Okay.
Well, we know there's some critics out there, but
Yeah,
hopefully
well,
we'll.
they come out of Tricon on Sunday morning, everybody goes, "Oh God, that bank is still there."
I can find you some uglier ones.
Yeah.
All right. Well, thank you, folks. I hope this was helpful, and we'll look forward to seeing you soon.
Very much. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you very
You're
much.
welcome. All right.
I mean,
Okay. So let me see. I saw 33 Main Street. Is 33 Main Street on the? No, that's on the website. It says they're here, but
It was from the last
okay.
meeting.
They're replacing that window. So I think, gosh, that's everything except I have nothing to report on the expanding historic districts front. Is there any news from the town, Heather? No.
Nope. I submitted the warrant article. I'm going to place it on the Historical Commission's agenda for their meeting next week for them to review the article and hopefully vote to support it.
Okay, one of us should attend, or maybe a couple of us, that meeting. That would be helpful to them, I think.
Okay, I can send you guys the agenda.
Yeah, please do. I think I'll try to attend. For some reason, I thought they met on the same night we did, but no. Okay, and minutes. I think I reviewed what's on the website. Remind me what's there. I'm looking. 11:19, the neighborhood meeting. We have 2:18 and 3:4.
Right.
And Nia, do you have any strong feelings about the minutes? You're muted though.
I sent in my edits at the end of the last meeting for those three.
Yeah.
Okay.
Minor.
Yeah, and I don't think I had I had no comments. So I think we can probably vote to approve these and absorb them into the official record of the town. Any objection to that? If not, I'd look for a motion.
I move we approve the minutes from February 18 and March 3rd, 2021.
March 4th.
March 4th, I'm sorry.
And also 11/19/2020.
And 11/19/20, the neighborhood meeting.
All right. Can I get a second there? All in favor, just raise your hand, because Abby, that was the biggest yawn I've seen all night. All right, I think you've got
It's time for me to take my anti-nausea medication and go.
That's right.
You've got a unanimous. Is there anything else on our agenda, Heather and Heather? Are we good to go? I think we're good. So someone please move to adjourn.
I make a motion that we adjourn.
Thank you.
Second.
All in favor? Very
Aye.
nice to see you. Thank you all for hanging in.
Feel
there.
better, Abby.
Yeah, feel
Happy
better.
Easter.
That was a
Happy
long
Easter.
week.
Happy Easter.
Thank you.
Thank
Good
you all
night.
for your hard work.
Good
See
night.
you soon.
Night.
All right. See you in a couple weeks.